doing what you love. It's deciding for yourself what success is. And I think it's having a healthy level of detachment from the outcome.
I believe success is a very personal thing. People have different measures of success. It's about being fulfilled, being happy, feeling you're making a contribution in what you're doing. Success can be measured in many forms. It can be measured in money. It can be measured, obviously, which is what a lot of people feel. But I think there's a bigger issue than that. It can be measured in the influence that you make, in being appreciated by your peers and your colleagues, your superiors, your subordinates. It's about respect. It's about fulfillment.
Success for me is finding what your calling is in life. What are you really here to do? What difference are you here to make? There's a great saying I love, which is where your unique skills and capabilities meet the needs of the world. And if you can find that place, so that for me is success. And my message for tonight, so Tom has asked me to talk about sport and how sport has contributed towards business. And so I want to talk a little bit about how sports contribute towards business, but also business has contributed to sports. And both sport and business are finding some real challenges in the environment just now. There's so many pressures in the modern day world that both business and sport are facing some of the same challenges. So I would say look more where you succeed, look more where you get energy, and build on succeeding rather than building on failing.
Well, for me success is very simple and it's very human. If you do what you like, if you have a lot of passion in what you do, you can be very innovative, you can be very creative, you can have a lot of patience, but at the end of the day you will reach the goal you've put yourself. So for me the answer is passion. Be disruptive. We are living in very difficult economical days, and that will not change in the years which come. We will always have to do more with less, and we are already all tired because we have already been given a lot to the companies and to the employers for whom we work. So try to do it in a different way. Do not try to take over what people have done for you before. Just try to think out of the box and see what our new way of working, how can we better collaborate with each other, how can we change the reality, because that for me is the successful formula for tomorrow.
Have fun first. Developing yourself very easily, naturally. It's a natural flow.
I'm respectful, but I speak my mind and I say what I think, and that comes with experience and with age and with confidence, and so it's nurturing that in yourselves in situations. To not be afraid to say, I have something to add, or I want to ask you a question. A lot of these people are bluffing a bit as well, and I think, you know, just a slight anecdote which you may have heard before, but about women and you know, when they reach a certain age, they have families and children and juggle careers. Even if they don't have families, the expectation that that's going to be part of your life, by the time you leave school or college, it's already a hindrance on your career. It's already a hindrance on people employing you, on maybe your own expectations and everything. But, you know, and because of this multitasking thing, which I think men do multitasking as well, but there's one thing, and what is the most common question asked to a mum? Do you know what this is? What, can you guess? What a child would ask his mum? What's the most common question? What's for dinner?
My husband cooks.
Yeah. But what's the most common question they ask to their dad? Where's mum? and it is, you know, and I know it's changing, you know, and I'm already in my 40s now, and I'm very different to my mum's generation, and my daughter, who's 14, will be very different to mine, and she'll have more confidence than I have. So things are changing and evolving, and I think just stand up and be counted. And one more thing to add, which is again, this book, Sheryl Sandberg's, which is very good. There's a couple of things I disagree with her. She disagrees with this idea of mentoring, because she said all it's doing is reinforcing the idea that women need somebody to depend on and that they can't do it themselves, which I don't agree with it there, because I don't think it's just about, it's nothing to do with gender. But I think when you're certain, particularly younger women, somebody that inspires you that you work with, just learn from them and ask them questions and really say, that's what I'd like to do, if they're the creative one, and to really, and very often most people are very flattered to be considered like that and are happy to pass on that knowledge and etc. So that's one area that one part will have an integrate.
But really, it made so much sense to me, is that whenever I was uncomfortable, yet presented with an incredible opportunity, the only way I could cope with my own insecurities was to fake it, was to take on a different persona and to walk into the meeting as if I was the Director General. Or as if, and it sounds kind of ridiculous, but nobody knows what's going on in your head, and that's the beauty of it. Always walk through the door, and then once you're there, you figure it out. You use the things that help you.
You have to jump.
Yeah, jump and then learn, jump and run.
Again, I think it's really hard in the business world now that the severe lack of time and resource to have some of these quality conversations, because that's what it is really, it's having the space to have a quality, honest conversation. Without the ambition, without the stretch, maybe you won't reach far enough, so you won't be able to reach your potential. So I think ambition is really important. I think if you're ambitious without passion, the danger is you don't have the energy and drive to get there. So I think the passion gives you the energy and the drive that kind of pushes you through those challenges or those hurdles or gets you up or keeps you going that little bit longer. And so that's what I think it adds to me.
Does ambition come with passion always or not? I guess
not.
not.
I don't think so.
And that's not a bad thing, but will you be successful being passionate without being ambitious? And is that a bad thing?
I don't know if the certain, but I have a sense that the combination of the two is probably more potent than not.
My feeling would be that you could only be properly ambitious about something only if you're passionate about it. I think otherwise, well, I know that ambition might have a very negative connotation. And in my experience, I always find it very funny when I interview young people, for instance, who want to apply. And more often than not, you will see them list ambition as a negative point. And I don't think there's anything to be ashamed of about being ambitious. It's just that if it's what we call in French, cold ambition, then it's going to be soulless, and very, very, very soon you'll be strained by your own ambition. Whereas if you're passionate, then it's going to be proper ambition on the longer term, because you will have the energy and stamina to keep it going.
And every 3 months the CEO told us, thank you for your contribution to the shareholder. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, in a company, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a public company, so. But after a couple of times I was wondering, so what am I doing here? I was living partly in Belgium, living partly in Switzerland. My wife and I were still together, the kids were still there. So I was thinking, I'm pretty successful. I grew up into the pyramid. Until a certain moment I was realizing that, am I not really successful? Yeah, based on external attribution, because people say, how do you manage to live between Belgium and Switzerland and take care of your wife and your kids? And in combination with your contribution to the shareholder, I was thinking of, is this now my purpose? And then I went to this, how do you want to be remembered? And then I decided that I don't want to be remembered with some stars and stripes and being perfect father and perfect director and perfect this and perfect that. And then I decided that I don't want to keep up with this perfect image.
I congratulate you all for being here in the middle of the week at this time of night, and for having the energy to do so, because you're doing it. I mean, I can tell you about success through community building, but to me, this is what that is. The fact that you come and bring extra energy, more than just going to work, going home, going to work, but bring extra energy to bring people into your life, who then form a kind of community. Because if here, I hope that everyone has kind of developed a sort of element of trust here. You felt comfortable to say a little bit about yourself and your thoughts. The idea of success through community building for me is simply building on that. And essentially what we have done at Leaderize is we've simply brought people together and given them a safe space where they can share information, share contacts, be inspired by each other's stories, and through that they build genuine friendships with each other. You know, there's a sense of fellowship. And in my opinion, when it comes back to sort of, if we're talking about career or the things that you should be successful at according to society or whatever, this is a very, very powerful mechanism for networking. And I don't mean networking in the traditional sense where somebody hands you their business card and sort of judges you on that basis, throws it away the next day, that kind of thing. But to me the idea is that, as I mentioned before in the session, it's about surrounding yourself with the people that bring out the best in you. And for that, you need the opportunity to meet those people. So for me, community building is about creating that space for yourself, and it doesn't have to be a network of 4 cities like we are, but you can create that community around you, a sort of group of people that you trust in work, at home, in your family, who are going to give you not only the support and inspiration and encouragement you need, but also some of the ideas, so that when you're going through life's journey, you can use them. You can use that community as kind of a sounding board. If you have that element of trust, and you can say, look, I'm planning to do this. I want to know what you think about it. I want to discuss it with you. Tell me what you don't like about it. And this trusting community that you've developed actually helps you refine your own ideas, your own processes, your own way to move forward. And so we're kind of doing that on a very big scale. The way we've done it is that we've got our community to tell us how to improve our product. So we created a network, and then we asked people, well, how do we compare to other professional networks? How do we compare to other women's organisations? And they started feeding in what we became. They started defining who we were. So instead of having a set idea about who I am, or having a set idea about what our organisation was, the community began to decide these things for us. And once we had that, what we'd created without realising is a large group of people, a critical mass, that followed the same values. And for me that was the critical thing. This has been successful because the values that underpinned it all were common to everybody involved. And that was that whatever they do in their lives, they underpin it with love and with service. The idea that they're following their passions and they're interested in helping others. So from that point, you have created this trust. You have a community that's helped define what you are or your product. And then with everybody sharing the same values, you're able to grow, or you're able to advance and move forward.
So putting your best foot forward, to me means acknowledging your own accomplishments, building on them, expanding them, learning on the job, really inspiring. And for me that's how you communicate yourself better. So communication as a policy objective, it's communicating yourself.
Well, I think almost all entrepreneurs will break the rules somehow. It's because you're always trying to create something new. And of course you have to adapt to some things, taxes, some kind of bureaucracy. In Belgium, I was shocked to find there's quite a lot of sexism. So even today, when I call my bank, they will still ask, okay, but your husband, is he in law? What does he do? Does he have an income? And you're like, well, wait, it's my company. I'm the sole founder. Don't ask me that. It's so sometimes you have to adapt. Like for example, the bank, I was like, I'm not going to take on ING. despite my self-confidence. I'm not going to completely change that bank today. But, so some things you have to live with because it's just too much effort to try to change it. But I think you can break the rules with a certain level of charm, and if you have a good reason to, and you think that it's going to make your business thrive, it's going to make you thrive, and possibly other people thrive, I think it's perfectly normal and reasonable and intelligent to break the rules. I don't think, risk-taking alone doesn't make you happy. It's on the contrary. I think in the last year, I've probably been more unhappy than I've been in the 10 years I had before in my corporate career. I've been more unhappy at work than I've had been before. But then on the other hand, I've been a lot happier as well. And being an entrepreneur is just, there is just more stuff going on. There's just more passion. I can't judge, but for me, there is more emotion, there's more drive. But it's also just extremely hard work. And we talked about that the other day, but sometimes people say to me, you've been so lucky with the people you've employed, they're great. You've been so lucky that you found this house, you've been so lucky that you got all that press. And this is such a pet peeve with me, it is not luck. It is not luck. It is hard work, and it's skills, and it's being at the right time, and it's taking risks and all that, but it is, sometimes maybe a little bit of it is luck. But for example, the people I've employed, I selected them, I hired them, I trained them, I decided that they would be that person, so that's not luck. So the thing is that it does take a lot of hard work, and for people who are considering becoming entrepreneurs, you just have to know that all there is, it's out for you to take, but it doesn't come just like that, and it definitely doesn't come with luck. If I had known all that, that's a good question. If I'd known all that, would I still have started the company? And I think I would have. And I don't think that my children have especially suffered. I think, going back to gender questions, being a good parent, for me, is not just about serving the vegetables and making sure they do the schoolwork, it's about the role model. And I think especially as women, you have maybe an even bigger responsibility to be a good role model and show that you can do what you want and you can build something and you can create something, but also show it's not just like that. My daughter said to me yesterday, we were talking about the second library, and she said, you can't just get all those libraries. And I said, I can, because I worked really hard. So those are the lessons that you pass on along the way that I wouldn't have passed on if I was not working or having a job I didn't like, you know.
I always thought it was a very elusive thing, you know, because it changes, you know, as you reach your target, it moves forward, and also as you get older and have more experience. But after the event, I have to say, I really took to what, what's her name now, Anne-Sofie said. I thought it was just, I'm like, aha, that's it actually. And what she said was, success is when you're busy doing something that brings you alive. When you're able to impact other people, then you're truly successful.
Well, tonight, we have been listening to wonderful speakers and with a lot of tips that you can take from them.
We hope you had an inspiring moment where maybe even just one thought that sparked your mind that you can relate to for your own personal success. Can make you go home and think, oh, I know something that I didn't know, and now I also know what to do. So thank you all very much for coming. Have a great cocktail for the year, and hope to see you soon.